Reds comes through. The subchapter in Fritz's first book, Adventure on a Dare, that I was shown before it was published, changed my life. When I was 10 years old, I went with my father to his service station as a little boy to help work. And my dad was saying things like, Jiminy Crickets, what the hammerheads, freaking Fritz. And I asked him, Dad, what's the matter? And he said, Fritz tore all the flags down and he's using them for a blanket over in the park to stay warm. So fast forward to 2008 on I thought was a chance encounter, but it may have been divine intervention. I meet this guy again, and through a conversation, he says, "You're Reds' kid, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And my dad had just passed away a year or two before that, and not many people called them Reds. But he told me don't move, and he went to his car and he got a manuscript of a book that he had drafted called Adventure on a Dare. And he turned to a subchapter, and there was subchapter was called Reds Comes Through. And it was the flag story from when I was a child. But the comes through part was my dad had moved a car in the alley between the service station and the ale house and put a moving blanket in and said, if you need somewhere to sleep and stay warm, sleep in the car. That was the essence of my dad. So that interaction with Fritz as an adult really taught me something that I may have missed before my dad passed away not too long before that. My dad was a man of love and giving and caring. So it automatically made me wonder, what did my dad see in this guy, Fritz Sprandel, that he would kind of take him under his wing? This really was a passion, and it got inside of my heart more to find out, who is this guy and what's he all about? And his book was just in draft form, and I started asking questions about that. And over time, I helped him a little bit here and there, but I got more involved in his story, but more so, who is this guy? And really what it did for me for the last 17 years, knowing Fritz Sprandel, is it helped me understand my father better and what he was about. So I think, I've been asked, why are you so involved in this project or things like that? I think it was actually kind of like a tribute to my dad to continue maybe something that he had started with Fritz or something like that. So it really created a situation in my mind that I not only wanted to learn more about Fritz and all his crazy adventures and his stories. The more he told me, I almost couldn't believe him. But I was always trying to correlate what was the connection with him and my dad, and what did my dad see? So the more I learned about Fritz, the more I knew he did things that most people could or would never do, but that really wasn't the essence of the story. The essence of the story was, who is this guy and what's his heart about? One of the last things we published was a book called Snowmobiling Across America. And this was a story about when Fritz snowmobiled from across the United States, from Westport, Washington, Eastport, Maine. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records from that. But we actually delayed the release of that book because last August or September, there was a snowmobile museum north of the Mackinac Bridge that invited Fritz out to come lead a pack of vintage snowmobiles across the bridge. And at 80 years old, Fritz went out, not only led the pack, but he was the grand marshal of the thing and guest speaker at the luncheon afterwards. So we kind of delayed the publishing of that book to include that trip. A lot of things have happened over the years, but this was the most impactful thing probably because at 80 years old, he actually was able to do something again. So that book actually was released and published on February 15th. And when the message came out from that it was released and it was available on Amazon and other places, I sent a message to Fritz, and he made a comment and liked it. And I know he saw it because he was on my post where I shared it. And little did we all know that would be the last correspondence or interaction that I had with Fritz and all of us on the team. It was just a few days after that that Fritz wound up leaving us due to a freak accident, kind of, and it's been a sad story and an emotional time, but everyone on the team who's been involved feels the same way. It actually created more determination and more of a drive, not only to share the amazing stories about Fritz, but who this person was. So as we regroup and reestablish a game plan, we are more excited and committed than ever because many of you out there have been a part of this story. And that was always Fritz's thing. It's not just what he's doing, but who's he impacting. So we have stepped up our commitment and are more excited than ever about continuing the story and promoting the life and adventures of Fritz Sprandel. But more importantly, who is this guy and what did he mean to everyone? We all lost a near and dear friend not too many weeks ago, but in our hearts, the man lives on in what he stood for. So, my dear friend Fritz Sprandel, this is for you.